What's good, everybody? Happy Thursday. We're coming to the end of the week where we've got Christmas coming up. The markets are fairly quiet going into it. The Dow was higher by 55 today, S&P up 5, and the Nasdaq was up 4 on the day. All because, or at least to start, because all these companies came out the second the tax bill was confirmed. The companies came out and said, congratulations, now we're going to give more money to our employees. We're going to raise our hourly wages. Look, that was meant as a show. It was meant to say, see, by cutting the corporate tax rate, it's going to trickle down to the individual. There's no way. I want you to think about this. Do you think AT&T could have said the second the bill was passed, oh, you know what? Hey, we're going to give $1,000 to 200,000 employees and raise wages. Wells Fargo, Fifth Third Bank, Boeing, all these companies came out with very specific numbers right after the bill passed. This was all prepared ahead of time. It's not a conspiracy, or I'm not trying to, downplay the situation. It's just when they say on TV, like, oh, maybe this will trickle down. Well, that was all planned. That was the whole dog and pony show to make you excited about this new tax plan. So it's good news, of course. I mean, there's no, I have no issue with that, but don't fall for that game. I mean, these guys ran these numbers months ago, came up with what they would do. They were probably asked by some people in administration, would you mind saying this once we pass this bill? And they got obviously the yes. So market-wise, everything's good. Everybody's happy. The only other thing that's left for the remainder of the week, which will happen tonight going into tomorrow, is the vote on the government shutdown. Widely expected that they will fund the government past Friday. Friday night's the deadline. Look, the media tries to make it like, ooh, will they, won't they, right? So you stay watching the channel. They're going to do it. It's going to pass. So other than a shocker or for some reason they change their minds or get in a big argument, I wouldn't expect that to affect the markets going forward. But we'll see. Maybe a little activity before Christmas. For now, everything's quiet. Let's start over here with the first stock of the day, which is Bitcoin. I'm sorry, eTrade. eTrade has decided that, yes, they're ready. You can trade Bitcoin futures on their platform. They're not the first to do this. They're just getting the attention today. You already have TD Ameritrade allowing futures. They were one of the first. Interactive Brokers, always one of the first. TradeStation, a bunch of others have already allowed Bitcoin futures on their platforms. So these guys are just joining the game. They kind of have to. They really spent a lot of money on marketing, so they're trying to keep that momentum going. If you look at the stock, it's up about 43% this year so far. Today added about another %, so good for them. If you have an eTrade brokerage account and you want to trade Bitcoin futures rather than actual Bitcoin or now Bitcoin Cash, you can do that as well. Let's move on to Allegiant. You've heard of Allegiant Airlines. That's a discount airline company starting to turn the corner a little bit. You can see it on the charts there. Since making a low back in September, they're up about 50%, right? Today's move hits 5% because an analyst at Deutsche Bank wrote a note to their clients and upgraded the stock. The actual note to the clients said a strong position for Allegiant and for the entire industry in 2018. In addition to the gains from tax cuts and increasing demands was the reason why they upgraded the stock. They're suggesting it's a buy to their clients. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just telling you what they're suggesting. So Allegiant's still down on the year by about 3%. So it's definitely an underperformer. Speaking of underperformers, why aren't you guys shopping at Bed Bath & Beyond? I was there. I went there the other day. I bought like 3 things. That was the only time I've been there all year, but I went there. Look, you can see the charts there. The stock is falling off the bottom of your screen. It is down 12.5% today. They announced their earnings. Once a quarter, all these companies come out and they report their earnings for the previous quarter. And basically, we just want to see that you're doing well. You're growing in some capacity. But unfortunately, Bed Bath & Beyond said, look, our earnings dropped by over 50% from last quarter. That's not cool. It costs a lot of money to have those big stores, and when earnings slide that much, that's a problem. Also, same store sales, that's a very common metric that they use. That was down as well. That's the phone, by the way. We'll just get back to that. Man, they are getting crushed. The stock is down by over 50% on the year. So if you haven't been to Bed Bath & Beyond, you might want to get there before things get a little worse, and maybe you can't go there anymore. Finally, we'll talk about Boeing, and I want to point this out. some news came out in the middle of the day that Boeing was looking at buying a company, Embraer, right? And I always say that wrong, but Embraer is a public company. They're based in Brazil. You can see the stock shot up about 22% on the day because it came out that Boeing was in talks to buy them out. Here's the thing. This is much, much different than any buyout that you're going to see or you've heard about. All the other stuff we talked about, Disney and Fox, the deals that have gone back weeks now, this is 100% different than all of those deals. If you're thinking about speculating on this stock or Boeing, just know that this deal is going to take a long time. Embraer, the other company there, they are not a US-based company. They're in fact partially owned by the government of Brazil. So the government of Brazil actually owns pieces of all the big companies there. Here's the thing. It may go through because there's a new government in Brazil that has sort of a looser outlook on things and really doesn't want to own shares of all these other companies. But for now, Brazil has a major say in what happens with Embraer. And right now, Brazil said, look, we're not interested. We're not going to vote yes on that. So even if the company wants to offer something to Boeing and Boeing wants to buy them, look, this is just a deal that's going to take a long time. I would stay away. It's not something that you're going to hit a home run on right away and all is going to be good. So just wanted to point that out, something to think about. Anyways, that's about it. As we look around, what else is good today? Oil service stocks, the companies that help move oil and drill for it and make parts and all that, was up strong today, about 3%. That sector doing well. The oil exploration companies, the guys that go out and actually try to find it, then drill for it, they did well. And on the downside, we've got Mexico down a little bit lower. We talked about that yesterday with our new tax plan. It's going to be more competitive against Mexico, so that's falling a little bit more. Other than that, the volume in the overall market's very quiet, right? It's Christmas. Everybody's getting ready to travel and do all this. Expect tomorrow to be pretty quiet. We'll still do a market update, but it is going to likely be very, very quiet. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions about these stocks or anything that you're interested in, you're welcome to email me, of course. If you have retirement accounts, something that you might want to consider and you are thinking about it, go to jazzwealth.com. Otherwise, leave a comment. What do you think about these videos? Is this interesting to you? I so far see pretty good comments and I thank you for them. And we'll talk to you soon.